everybody. We are here once again. Rejoice. Welcome to vidIQ, the creator-obsessed YouTube education channel that every single Tuesday welcomes you into our live stream learning theater. Some of you today will get a little vulnerable. You will submit your channels for exploration, critique, advice, motivation, and a whole lot of inspiration. Almost as if I scripted that, but I can assure you I did not. I've just said that so many times over the last 748 live streams I have done here at vidIQ that I can speak almost like an AI robot. Maybe you are speaking to an AI robot right now. Maybe I've gone. Maybe I asked ChatGPT 4.7 to do this live stream for me. You may be getting channel audits from not just one robot, but a really, really cool, awesome robot who's got up at 7 o'clock in the morning today to help me out. It is Jeff. Jeff, how's it going? Welcome to the Chaos is vidIQ live streams once again.
Doing okay, man. I was surprised by the music. I don't know if it's too loud for the crowd or not, but it was coming in a little hot for me.
This is the second time that has happened in a live stream where I put the fader down before setting the music and it just decides to output it at a much higher level. So as usual, my intro was ruined by the music. And I see that in the chat, but hey, that's how things happen every single week. Hopefully I've got it down to a more agreeable level right now. So yeah, Jeff, how's it going? What's going on in the hood, so to speak?
Doing okay, man. Doing okay. Just hanging in there.
Hanging in there as we all are. I can see at least one live chat, super chat has come in already, which I cannot find for some reason. It says, NRD Gaming, happy to see you again. Yes, happy to you. And we'll be reading out some super chats later on. We'll tell you a little bit more about that very, very soon. But if you are brand new to this live stream experience, then do let us know in the chat. Do let us know if the music has got louder again, because it sounds like in my head that it's got louder. I've got it like on the smallest setting. I've got it on 5%. Or is it you adjusting it now, Jeff? Yeah, you bring it down, and then it interferes and it tries to get louder again. I'm not going to use that feature ever again. It's really annoying.
Yeah, but very odd.
Anyway, thank you, StreamYards, for breaking something that I wanted to try and use. Obviously, we're not sponsored by them if I'm shouting out bugs live on air. Anyway, if you are brand new here, then do let us know in the chat. If you are a regular here at the vidIQ live streams, including our awesome moderators, Victoria, Slavgard, Tish, I'm sure you're all in the house, welcoming in people. Do give them a friendly hello. Welcome into the live stream. And as you do that, over the next 48 seconds, we'll show you how this live stream is going to work for the next 2 hours. Welcome to the vidIQ channel reviews live stream. Simply fill in the correct form in the video description and your channel will be considered for review during a live stream. Channel reviews are free, so no need to send us a super chat, and don't spam us in the live chat. We'll ignore it and you may be put in timeout. After the live stream, don't forget to download the vidIQ extension where you can get a custom channel audit, daily ideas, and an AI-powered video title generator. Link is in the description. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, experience and passion as fellow creators. Thank you to all of our moderators who help us out on the live stream every week. You know who you are. Give us a like if you enjoy this live stream, subscribe if you love it, and share it with like-minded fellow creators. All right, let's get started. And the bits of housekeeping as per the norm. We do not audit channels based on super chats, but you are more than welcome to fire in a super chat and we will try our best to star that comment and maybe address some of the questions later on. Regulars will know that Dan is usually around here helping with the gaming channel audits. He's still enjoying a much-needed R&R, so he will be back next week, and so I apologize if I forget to look at the the super chats or anything like that, because Dan is really good at picking them up, and when I'm trying to both run the live stream, host it, and offer my advice, it can all get a little bit jumbled and chaotic. But yeah, if you do send in super chats, we will try and set aside some time to read them out. In the description, you will see a little disclaimer that mentions that while there are all sorts of channels for all sorts of audiences, welcome on YouTube, if your channel has a non-PG approach to it, whether it be through the thumbnails, the titles, the topics, then we apologize in advance that we may not be able to audit that channel. It's nothing necessarily against your channel. It's just that we have to cater to our PG, all ages audience. And if it's inappropriate, then we'll just let you know and we'll move on to the next channel. It's nothing necessarily against your content as a YouTube whole broad audience appeal type of thing. And I think that is it for the housekeeping for this week. Unless, Jeff, you have anything you would like to add before we move into our first channel audit?
Not necessarily, man. You pretty much covered it there.
Then let's move on to our first channel that's submitted from the forms that are in the description. And you can go to the description now and fill out the form. You may be randomly selected later on in this live stream. But when the live stream does go live or public, every week on a Mondays, people race to that form and try and fill it in. And the first one that does, that hasn't been audited in the past, automatically gets a channel audit. So that's one reason to subscribe and click on a notification bell to make sure that you get those notifications. And we're going to audit Abundant Gardening as our first channel. They come to us with 55 subscribers and 55 videos. Some interesting synchronization there. Follow me as I grow my garden for easy gardening tips and tricks. New weekly videos. Jeff, let's just start with you. First thoughts on our first channel of the week.
All right. So first, hold on. Let me make this a little bit bigger. There we go. All right. First things first. So follow me as I grow my garden. Easy gardening tips and tricks. So I think one of the things that that I know now as a more veteran creator, and it's something that I wish somebody would have told me in the beginning, is to really focus on one, who you are targeting, but also your value proposition. And I think that's kind of what could be missing here in their banner,
Right.
because we've got a bunch of words, which is too many to me. I would try to keep it at 5 words at most. I don't think your name is necessary there. Follow me as I grow my garden. That might be it. Or easy gardening tips and tricks. That might be it as well. But really just telling, the viewer what it is that your channel is about. That's a big starting point. Is once you know that, it makes it much easier to let your audience know that. And then you can run every single video idea past that as a filter.
Exactly. Yeah, good point. Good point.
So that'd be the first thing. I'd be really trying to figure out what your value proposition is to the viewer, put that on the banner. But beyond that, yeah, we can start taking a look at everything else if you'd like and see where we are from there.
The immediate thing that's jumping out here and almost slapping me in the face, and probably not for the right reasons, is the text. It's very bold. It's very big. It's very contrasty quite often to the rest of the thumbnails. In fact, some of the thumbnails almost seem intentionally dark. I look at this one, which is called the cheap raised bed. And it's almost as if they've put like a filter on the image and lowered the brightness so that they can emphasize the text. And I would almost be feeling that's the completely opposite way around that you should be doing if you're trying to illustrate to your audience about building a cheap raised bed. That should be front and center. And rather than just regurgitating the title as text in a thumbnail, you could tell people how much this bed costs. Like if it's $5, then you've got me invested before I even click. Like I'm only going to have to spend $5 to make this work. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing, and just to be clear, normally text like this, I'd be happy to see it because one, they're keeping it simple, right? So we're doing less than 5 words on all the thumbnails that I can see, and it's easy to read, which is also good. So those are 2 good things. But I'd argue, same as Rob here, some of these, like building a cheap raised bed in 2023, I'd argue that really doesn't need the text in the thumbnail. And you should be showing it in a much brighter and clearer and more saturated picture of that cheap raised bed. Especially when, in this one in particular we're picking on, when it's repeating the title. It just kind of doesn't really help you in any way as far as that goes. So that would be my thing. But yeah, and I agree, some of the pictures do look a bit on the darker side. I'm double checking, making sure it's not my shades, and it's not.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking I'd put like a filter over my screen for a second, but they are all lowered in brightness by like, it seems 25%.
I mean, they get a little bit better. Like there's these storing spring bot bulbs for spring.
Yeah.
Those pictures are a little bit brighter, but I see what you're saying on the top row for sure.
And then as a quick observation of the titles, some are very search heavy. How to easily grow tomatoes from seed. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that if that's what you're going to target in terms of search.
Mm-hmm.
If growing tomatoes is a huge search term in itself, absolutely fine. If it's growing tomatoes from a seed and that's a little more niche, then do you need to be as search specific there, or something more broad to the audience that just makes it more desirable? More, what do you think? If I was to ask you the question here, Jeff, and I appreciate you're probably a complete layman when it comes to gardening, what do you think would be the big desire for somebody watching this content in terms of gardening for any of these videos?
I mean, I would say, bigger tomatoes, if anything, something along those lines. But this is a good place where, especially for a new channel like this, if they have access to our AI title generator, where you can put in those keywords and have it kick you out 5 different title ideas that you can play around with to give you an idea of something that's going to be a little more catchy. Like instead of like, let's say theoretically, think of it this way, right? How to easily grow tomatoes from seed. What about, the secret to growing bigger tomatoes? Something like that. Yeah, it gives it a little more pop. It gives it a little more something, right? A little more impact in the title. It makes you want to click it more. So it's just a thought. It's just a thought. But
I agree with just the thought. Yeah. Experimentation is definitely worth doing as still under 100 subscribers. And it feels very search-based content at this point in the creator's journey.
Yeah, totally agree. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I mean, and you could see the evolution of their thumbnails where they kind of had the text off to the side. Like I said, just like anything else, I'd argue that some of these thumbnails don't really need it. But it's a choice that they've decided to make and they're really rolling with it. But I think you don't have to have it in every single thumbnail. I just want to make sure that they're aware that there's no rule that says that they have to do it on every single one. You don't have to. You don't have to. So you can do some with and some without.
I might argue that these are somewhat of a devolution in thumbnails. And I prefer these earlier thumbnails where the thumbnail seems a little brighter just on first glance. And they're almost putting that text to one side, which allows the rest of the thumbnail to breathe a little bit more. Whereas up here, it's so much more in your face, the text.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know if you agree, Jeff, or others in the chat agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's good to go bigger, but sometimes it's at the expense of what the picture actually shows. And this would be like if I was giving advice to a food channel and they were using text like this over a picture of pie, I'd be like, no, bro, you got to get rid of that text or make it smaller because you're hiding the thing that's supposed to get you the click because you're throwing text over it and it's just too much. So yeah, that's just me. That's just my opinion.
We'll get back to cooking thumbnail channels quite soon, actually.
Yeah, no worries.
Abundant Gardening, then, still early on in their YouTube journey. I think they've been creating content for about 6 months. So the 50 videos in at this point.
Yeah, I like the consistency. You got to give them that. I love the consistency.
They've had like one breakthrough video, which was about grow lights, 2,000 views. Is that a particular strength or knowledge base that you have that you can maybe revisit? I don't know if you've done more videos on growing lights. That could be like a niche within a niche to certainly explore. And shorts wise, you are investigating shorts as well, again, with some success, some videos over 1,000 views. So, despite all of the little picky things that we've looked at there in terms of the thumbnails, the titles, this channel is now established. And it's almost like they're moving on to the phase 2 of their channel where they've got 50 videos done. Now they have lots of data, they have lots of content to look at and iterate on. Let's see where you are in another 6 months. And hopefully you've cracked 100 subscribers and had some more successful videos. So that is our first channel of the week, our first non-gaming channel. And what we do now is, because we have 2 forms, the non-gaming channel form, we reviewed the first gaming channel from that form. This is IT-TVGaming. And I always like to ask the question when I visit a channel banner and thumbnails. Am I in the right place if I am a Minecraft epic builds type of enthusiast? And just from the thumbnails themselves, I know what I'm getting into when I look at these videos. So I want to applaud the creator for making it a very accessible, approachable channel for their target audience within seconds. Just under 500 videos that have already done a lot of stuff on their channel, Jeff, and they've just cracked 1,500 subscribers. Neither of us are gamers in terms of Minecraft, so we're going to have to judge this again as layman's. What are your initial thoughts here?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they really nailed it as far as making sure that it's very obvious where we are. They're doing a lot of, well, at least from what I was seeing with the thumbnails and some of the titles, how-tos. So, like, we're doing how to build large concrete mansion, how to build a cherry wood mansion, how to build a cherry wood house, and these are tutorials. They're even labeling them as such, which is pretty interesting that that's the route that they've gone. It makes this more evergreen, utilitarian type of a channel, but I just kind of wasn't expecting it based on the thumbnails, which is pretty interesting. So
that is a good question, because when I was just glancing at this channel, and I don't know what the answer is here because I'm not into Minecraft builds, but this is a question for the creator. Do you watch these types of videos because you want to learn how to build this particular structure? Or do you watch these types of videos because there's something visually satisfying about it because you're an enthusiast of the game, but you wouldn't necessarily do that yourself? And if you're able to answer that, and maybe the answer is, well, actually, this is just a visually satisfying experience, then as Jeff was kind of pointing out here, is the education how-to search-based approach the right one? Or should it be more about the experience? Like the Cherry Mansion, for example, is there a story behind that? Like it was a very particular, a very difficult build for a certain part of the roof that you had to build, or another obstacle that was in your way that allows you to tell a story? That might be something to think about if the viewers aren't necessarily looking to build these structures. And this is just a discussion point. I may be wrong about this. I'd love to know what you think, Jeff, about maybe the alternative approach to these types of videos, whereby the content could be quite similar, but the pitch is just a little different to the audience because the viewer, the creator is realizing that the viewer is not here to learn. They're here to chill out, relax, go on a building journey with the creator.
yeah, I hear you on that one. I was just kind of giving it some thought because I wonder how that could work. I guess it just sort of depends on what kind of content that they're aiming for, right? Because if this is really what they want to do and do it in a matter-of-fact way, then that's a different channel, I would say. Even though Minecraft is Minecraft, they would have to experiment with something like that. Because we're talking about storytelling at that point, which would be awesome if they could do it. But that is a skill that is not as easy as it sounds. It really isn't. It's a skill that you definitely have to build up. So.
They are super consistent and super committed. I don't know how they're even able to build this stuff in like every 48 hours, it looks like. They're posting once every 2 or 3 days, which is incredible, given that they're also filming and editing a 12 to 30-minute video each time. So the reason I'm kind of asking about this viewer pitch is you might assume that with this amount of content under their belt consistently, there might be a bit more momentum on the channel, because it seems like they're stuck at around about these sub 200 views per video on most of these. Some are a little different in terms of view counts, but nothing's breaking out here. All very consistent views.
Yeah, it sort of I don't know, it would make me think that if anything, that they might be making these builds in the blind without looking into what trends are within
Yeah.
the game,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a trending material or a trending style
Sure.
or what's popular right now. We see that a lot. Like sometimes people don't, and I'm not accusing them of this. This can happen to any of us for any reason. But sometimes it happens when we create content in the blind and we don't pay attention to what's going on externally, right? Like what's actually, what are people actually interested in? What are players of Minecraft actually interested in right now? And if we ignore that, then this is the kind of thing that can happen where you're just not getting the views that you think you should, or at least not what should be getting based on the effort that you're putting in, because you're ignoring trends and you're ignoring timing. Timing is incredibly important when it comes to YouTube. And are people actually interested in this? And are they actually interested in this right now? And those are two very different things.
I'm also thinking that potentially the competition, which maybe has been around longer than 2019 or whenever this creator started to really take it seriously. Perhaps there's already a strong competitive base of similar channels, and this channel just doesn't differentiate enough from those other Minecraft build channels. Maybe this has all been done before, and as impressive as it might be when you're the 217th channel to market on Minecraft builds, it might be a bit of a tired format. And so maybe they need to build different types of buildings or different types of structures. Uh, Something to consider as well, because just based on the thumbnails and the titles alone, I would expect to see this channel having a bit more momentum and growth than it currently is, because it feels stagnant right now for where they are currently at. And then the final thing would just be the gaming channel avatar and channel name feel a little general and generic. I don't know how they attach themselves to the channel. Maybe it's time to rebrand a little bit there before the channel does start to grow anymore, because IT-TVGaming tells me very little about the channel, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. It's sort of, it's a little odd. It almost feels like it was an old name that they used, or
Perhaps.
like a,
Yeah.
you know, which happens. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of creators who, when they start off their channel, they don't think about a channel name, so they just kind of go with whatever handle they've been playing with online, and then it just kind of doesn't make sense, and at some point they have to change it. So that's just a thought. I mean, maybe they have a branding behind it. I don't know, but I agree. It's something that kind of doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't yell Minecraft to me. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Just a thought.
Channel's been incredibly consistent. They've been creating this similar type of content now for 12 months. And when I go back 12 months, the view counts are very, very similar to where they are now.
Yeah.
So there is something in the content strategy that's a blocker right now, a bottleneck that's not giving the reach to the audience that it potentially should have. And as Jeff says, maybe creating blind and just creating these epic looking structures isn't necessarily what the viewer wants. It might be something a little different, which require a bit more research and idea generation before jumping into the video. Because maybe they are, Jeff, maybe they're just loading up Minecraft, pressing record, and then they say, right, I'm going to build this today. I haven't thought about this beforehand. I'm just going to do this and see what happens. So a commendable channel there. IT-TVGaming with 1,500 subscribers. The next channel we are now going to look at is GeoHuman, and they are answering all the questions about the world around you. I like that as a value proposition. I may want to add that to your channel banner.
Yep.
And then looking at the thumbnails, I think the thumbnails could probably do with a bit of work. I'm getting the Microsoft PowerPoint vibes just a little bit on some of these. But there are some intriguing ideas here. I think you'll probably be able to relate to this more than me, Jeff, being an American. These are America's future interstates. American cities with no interstates but need them. That video did very well, actually, 6,500 views. Big US cities you have probably never heard of. So I think it's sticking to its value proposition on some of these videos. Others I'm not quite so sure on. Wordle played by a tired, lazy person. Feels like a bit of a departure from what they've been
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
And then a personal challenge, naming 100 cities and trying to get what you think is a world record. Feels a little self-indulgent now. I'm not sure what value the viewer is going to get out of that video unless they expect geographical challenge-based content from you.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Where you have to have a value proposition that serves as a filter. How does this serve the viewer, right? And once you know how do your video serve the viewer, and you know your value proposition, every video idea has to get past that filter, every single one. And if it doesn't make sense, then you scrap it or you put it on a different channel. So that's the thing, is we want to maintain consistency. When we say consistency, we're not just talking about uploading on a set schedule every week or whatever. You also have to maintain consistency in your value that you're delivering to the viewer video after video. And that can be tough. It really can be tough when you put those kind of roadblocks in place, but it makes you a better creator because you are putting the viewer first. You are putting value first, and you're making sure that every single time a video drops on your channel, it's giving something to the viewer, right? That's what we're going for. So just a thought, if it doesn't match up or pass those filters, I would leave that one on the table and continue moving forward with the stuff that actually makes sense to your viewers.
They've done a lot of experimentation around the mainly, I think, US geography content. But it feels like they're starting to settle down a little bit with some successful stuff. And
Yeah.
if I was to push the content creator in any particular direction, it might be, and I know it seems really easy and obvious, just go after the most popular ones, but I think there's a reason for this, and it's in the titles as much as anything. I even think this one might have some potential. Big US cities you've probably never heard of. And then this thumbnail of an arrow pointing to presumably, do you know what city that is just from the picture there,
Nope.
Jeff? So I think what would make that more intriguing, even more curious than it is some really weird, unique objects from that city. Like let's say it has the world's largest statue of a hot dog or something weird or unusual, just to add to the mystery and intrigue there. American cities with no interstates but need them. Again, I think to a certain audience that is intriguing. So a title formula idea might be American cities with blank, or American cities with no blank, or American states that need a blank. So all of these geography-based titles, and then ideas of transport or agriculture or sports teams, like American cities that you think should have franchise sports teams but don't, and then go through the factual information there. I think there's potential for a factual and trivially interesting channel if you go down that route, which can very easily transform into shorts. Because I'm looking at the channel and I can't see the short tabs there. So you may want to, even with these ones that have already performed well, taking one or two of the cities and turning them into shorts. You can make that like a 5 or 10 short series of big US cities you've probably never heard of. I've come up with a lot of ideas there, Jeff. Sorry if I've stolen all of your potential suggestions.
No, that's fine, man. Yeah, I mean that's one way they could definitely flip it, and because since we're not seeing shorts at all on this channel, there's always the opportunity to build from there. So, and then the other thing that that I would say, and I'm not sure if you had mentioned it or not, would be start thinking about some listicle type content, you know, where you start talking about the 5 biggest facts or the 5 weirdest facts or whatever it is about the things that you're talking about. Because that's stuff that I've seen work super well on these types of like geography, location type channels that I've seen that have worked very well before. Especially when they've already built up a big catalog, then you can actually start creating compilations of some of your videos by reusing some of your old footage, so you don't have to do double the work. So, but just some thoughts on what you can do.
That is GeoHuman. We'll move on to the next channel now. That is calling themselves No People, No Problems. And I like the channel name because it's immediately backed up by the value proposition. Off-grid living is our dream.
Nice.
We're just 2 ordinary people who decided, oh, you need to tweak that first part of your about section because now it appears on the channel banner. I'm not too sure about this bit here. Is that supposed to say you won't kill a viewer if they subscribe? Feels a little threatening.
Yeah, just a tad bit.
The channel banner, maybe I'm misreading that. The channel banner as well. We get the mountains, but maybe we need to see you and your, you know, the perfect image of your off-grid living experience, just to emphasize that. I'm going to let you have a ponder on the thumbnails, Jeff.
Well, first things first, we really got to decide on a color scheme here, because this is really bugging me. Like the blue with yellow and dog, and then blue with magenta-ish red on attack. And then if you go over to this other one where it's this dog is crazy, it's like white, then red, then blue, then green, and then indoor walls. The second row down, all the way on the left, it says indoor walls, but you can barely read it because it's in blue over a back. So here's the thing, right? Before I get carried away, first things first, I'm gonna need you to decide on a color scheme for your text, right? The one where you have this where we didn't plan to stay this late at night to build off-grid cabin and just says night shift, and you've got white bold text with a black stroke around it. Perfect.
Yep.
Right? That's all you need. As long as it pops off the background, that's all you need. You could add a drop shadow to it. It'll make it look better. This other stuff you've got going on is not doing you any favors. So we got to quit with all the funky colors. Especially when it makes it hard to read, because if, like I said, when we're looking at this, indoor walls are done. I'm really having to look really close to see what that says, because all that sticks out to me is are done. So, or even the second row all the way on the right where it says no help, and then I think no problem. You've got dark blue over a dark backdrop, and it just makes it hard to read. So I'd really need them to focus and make a decision on what scheme they want to roll with. And really stick to it, because this colorful stuff is just not working.
Jeff, what about this one? Nope. I mean, actually, the framing isn't too bad, because you've got a person on the right hand side with this kind of like quizzical, almost judging look at the camera.
Yeah.
But like just a little, you could probably do. Sum up whatever you're trying to do, like build this with an arrow pointing to something off screen. Might be more effective than what you've done there.
Yeah, the picture is being hurt by the text. So it just like what I had mentioned before, that sometimes you don't need to have text on here, and that would be probably one of those pictures where you probably wouldn't need it. We could argue that. But yeah, that's just a big thing. I really need them to really kind of simplify the way that they're doing this. You know, quit with the fancy colors, because it's not helping you. It really is not. Keep it simple. Make sure that it's legible. And that's really going to help you much more than throwing up a bunch of crazy colors, especially when they're not even complementary colors. So that's the thing you have to be careful with. But yeah, let's avoid that. Your thumbnails, if we're using photos like this, they already have plenty of color in them. You just got to up the saturation. You don't have to have a bunch of crazy colors in your text. It's just not necessary.
Now let's remove the text for a second, and I want to look at this particular thumbnail and title. I get the sense that they're not dedicating a certain picture for a thumbnail. This looks like a freeze frame from the video. And they just happened to capture a moment when their dog was being a bit playful while they were trying to do something really important. But the only reason I'm able to see that is because we've now been looking at the thumbnails for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm using a magnifying glass on a desktop computer. When you shrink that down to the postage stamp size that most people are going to see it on a mobile phone, they probably wouldn't be able to see this image here of a dog playing with this person. And dog attack versus bracing out off-grid cabin for better stability. It feels like there's almost two competing stories trying to be told in a thumbnail and a title. And with thumbnails, I want to be as instinctive and clear as possible. So with the telling of the stories in the thumbnails as well, try to be a little more purposeful with that strategy.
Yep.
Now
that's the other thing, though. Screen grabs, man.
Yeah.
That's I know it's easy to fall into this trap of not thinking about shooting a thumbnail while you're doing your recording or whatever. You need to get that out of your head. If you have a cell phone, you can take pictures. And that's literally all you got to do is stop, take a picture, even if you got to stage it. Trust me, the most massive YouTubers, they're staging thumbnail pictures. So long as it's not, so long as it's served within the video. So, but yeah, stop and take pictures. Like, it's really not going to hurt. I promise you, it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it's going to help.
It does feel like there is a definite intent with each video. Like they're either putting the indoor walls on, they're putting a roof on, they're trying to improve the stability. So they probably already have an idea of the direction the video is going to go in, and presumably the title. So as you said, Jeff, they should be, while they're recording the content, there should be that little neuron firing off saying, you know what, this might be a really good thumbnail if you take the picture now before you forget. And just try and train that into your content creation process. Now, what I will say is, because we're kind of given a big dollop of thumbnail criticism there, Jeff, this channel's got 839 subscribers, and look at the view counts. Some are in the thousands, some are in the hundreds. They're all relatively strong for the subscriber size. To have a video here with 670 views one day after it's gone live with 800 subscribers, really strong. So I think they've got a committed community. I'll click on the video just to check where we're at with terms of engagement. Oh, now that's interesting. They've only got 3 comments and not many likes. So that does make me ask the question, where are all of these views coming from? That's not to suggest that there's anything untoward going on here. It may be that you're sharing them in Reddit or Facebook, and you're getting traffic there, but not necessarily an engagement. But the views versus engagement surprises me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it also could be that they're not stoking engagement in the comment section as well by asking questions to the audience, engaging with the audience and saying something like, hey, what do you guys think of what we just did here with this door? Let us know down in the comment section, stuff like that, where you're actually asking good questions instead of doing the old like, comment, subscribe that nobody cares to hear about anymore, because what am I going to comment? You need to ask me a question if you want me to leave you a comment. But that could be a part of it. But I agree. It could be that they're sharing these in groups externally and they're pulling in views that way. But yeah, the lack of engagement is kind of interesting. Usually I'd expect to see at least a few more comments, especially on 600 views. I'd expect to see something in there.
Now, about the videos themselves, you can't hear anything, but there is nothing to hear, because this is maybe a 2x, 3x, 4x speeded up video. And all you can hear is the audio from the time lapse. So like a sped up ambient noises. You can't hear any conversation. You occasionally hear a bit of text. And what I'm thinking the creator needs to do next, I'm not going to tell them to start filming up, do close shots and using a second camera. But what I would really like this creator to start doing is, instead of these occasional burned in captions, is have a constant dialogue going on with the audience. So you're talking to your audience all of the time, and you're introducing yourself and telling us a bit more about why you've decided to go off the grid, and telling us a bit more about your dog and your partner there. Because I would say if we're 1 minute, 2 minutes in, and all I'm still hearing is this time-lapse sound in the background, that's probably going to have a big impact on audience retention. You could be telling your audience everything you're doing right now, and then this little moment when the dog came down, and now the dog started playing with him, and I think that was what was in the thumbnail. So yeah, Jeff, I think as you were saying, with a lack of engagement, this might be one of the reasons. Where it feels like a very passive experience. You're just watching somebody go about their daily business in this off-grid world adventure.
Yeah. And there's plenty of channels that do stuff like this where basically after the fact, like we're not telling this creator that he has to do it while he's doing the stuff, right? Basically
Correct.
after the fact. It's literally a voiceover after the fact where they're just kind of going through and explaining things of what's going on. I've watched plenty of channels actually do stuff like that. There's some off-road or off-grid camping channels that I've seen. There's some, like winter camping, wood stove camping, stuff like that I've seen, where basically you hear the ambient noise. It's sped up. They're like 2 times, 3 times, whatever it might be. So time lapsing of their process of walking out. They're like hiking out to the spot, building the tent, building the fire, setting everything up. But the whole time they are narrating. Now there are some channels that don't narrate, and there's some that do. And the ones that do, I find better because they're kind of telling me a story of what they're doing, why they're doing this, explaining these things. Why am I using this technique? Why am I building a fire like this? So it's something that could really, really help create more engagement in those videos for sure.
There you are. That was No People, No Problems. You may have heard some ambient music kick in, because what we're going to do now is check out the super chats. Jeff, big thumbs up to you for keeping track and starring some of those super chats. And the first one here comes from, that's the wrong sound effect, Little Lights. Remember you're loved. Special care for and needed here. We are magic unicorns with very high potential, no matter what the circumstance. We are loved. It's interesting she uses the word unicorn there, because I think that's how many creators stand out. They become that unicorn within their own niche and topic. So great comment there from Little Lights. The next one here from TVGaming. Just wanted to say thank you. Made huge progress, and it all started shortly after tuning into your content. So I think there's a correlation. I truly hope so. Thank you for the super chat there. Xeno Gaming. I have shorts that are performing very well. Does it make sense to repost these shorts as long form content? I have the correct video size for both formats, but I don't want to oversaturate my channel. Jeff, what do you think?
I would say I would be posting it as long form content if you're going to remake the video in a longer form way, right? So that's something that we've seen work well, but not if you're just going to post it horizontal and it's still 45 seconds long. There's no point. You've already posted the video on your channel as a short. Yeah. So if it's going to be, let's say let's put it this way. Let's say that the short was like some quick facts about something and a short blew up. And then you said, okay, you know what? I shared 5 facts in that short. Now I'm going to expand on all of those facts and make a longer video. That video has high potential as a long form video. But if you're just going to be sharing the exact same thing in one format or than the other, I wouldn't bother.
I don't know how much additional insight I can offer here other than to say I agree with what Jeff says. But I also want to exercise caution in how you turn that into long form content, because I think what people try to do is they turn a 20-second short into a 6-minute video, and whether there's just not enough content there, or like the transition from that super fast popcorn content into something that's a bit more digestible and takes a bit more labor to do, it loses something in translation. So maybe I would be thinking, if you're taking shorts, turn it into something that's still relatively short, like a 1 minute 30, 2 minutes, 2 minute 30. So you're still appealing to that same short form consumption viewer, just in a slightly more polished form. So that's where I may potentially experiment.
No, I agree. That's actually what I was going to say next, was like, I wouldn't make it super long. The one that I'm, well, actually there's a few successful ones that I've seen in recent memory with some of the students that I've been working with. But one of them really sticks out of my mind was a short that went major, drew a ton of engagement in the comments of that short, which was wild. And the short was about 50 seconds. And when he did the full length video, it was about 3.5 minutes. And still, pacing was perfect, and the video itself, added context to what he said in the short, and it really worked super well on the channel. It's a 1 out of 10. The video's taking off. The short was doing super well, and now the actual video is a 1 out of 10. So yeah, it can work really well if you work it correctly.
Sweet. NRD Gaming with a 5 BYNs. I wonder what currency that is. I'm fascinated to know. Hey E, presumably they're talking to you, Jeff. Can you share some exercises to make such a deep voice that you have, and some tips on how to prepare your voice for a long stream? What an interesting question.
My voice sounds like this because of years of concerts and drinking whiskey. So that's not really advice, but my voice sounds like this because my voice sounds like this. So I can't really help you with that. As far as exercising your voice, preparing for a long stream, one thing I would definitely recommend is to look up vocal warm-ups, and they're all over YouTube. And look up vocal warm-ups and make sure you do those. That works great for whether you're recording videos, whether you're doing live streams. Trust me, you want to warm up your voice. This is something that I'll do myself before I start a video, because one thing I noticed is when I would just do a cold start on a video and start recording, my volume would go up through the video as my voice warmed up. So now I make sure that I talk. Like, I'll just sit here talking, reading out my script for about 2, 3, 4 minutes till my voice gets to a level where it's just kind of normalized. And then that's when I'll actually hit record, because now my voice doesn't go up in volume as the video continues.
I would love to have Dan on to answer this question, because I'm sure you'll all appreciate when he's on a live stream, he just sounds so silky smooth, ASMR voice. I think also the hardware can help you. If you have a really good microphone that allows you to change the presets and go for that broadcast tone. There is a piece of software, I'm trying to remember what it was called because I used it for quite a while before I moved on to hardware. I think it's called Voice Meter, and you can actually change the pitch of your voice so you can make it deeper and have more of that richy bass broadcast feel to it. And I think Voice Meter is free. So do check that out if you want to try and, I guess, manipulate your voice from a software perspective. But I think the other thing is that some people are just born with different pitches and vocal strengths, and some are just lucky than others. I would love to have that more deeper, richer bass to my voice. I can only do that when I've got a cold.
Yeah, if you want to hear an amazing voice, check out my buddy Brian from Bad Seed Tech. He's a kind of a peripheral tech reviewer. Keyboards and such, has a massive beard, really awesome guy, really good friend. His voice is absolutely amazing. As soon as I first landed on his channel and I heard the first words come out of his mouth, it was like an instantaneous subscribe. I'm like, yep, I don't care what this guy tells me, I'm buying it.
Bad Gamer, good bird, thank you for the $2. And also Tiles Pro 1234, thank you for the £5. I was also told by the YouTube Live Control Center that that's your first super chats as well. So we really appreciate that. Thank you for all of your super chats so far. If any more come in later on during a live stream, we will endeavor to do our best to include them later on. But for now, I think we'll go back to some of our channel audits. And Jeff, you mentioned a cooking channel earlier on and how sometimes the text on the thumbnails can ruin the whole experience. Well, sir, I present to you Tasty, Nutritious, Delicious. They have 14 subscribers, 25 videos. So we need to be a little gentle. They are relatively new in their YouTube experience. But what do we find here?
So here's the thing, right? No fancy text. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. So I get why they're doing it, because it's look, on paper, on your computer screen, whatever it is, it looks good, right? Anything that's going to make it harder for someone to figure out what it says, you need to stop doing that. There's a reason why we go with plain, simple, bold text on thumbnails. There's a reason for that. It's because you want people to instantaneously know what it is that it says. You don't want to make people have to figure out what it says because you're using some kind of fancy script. So don't do that. I know for certain niches this works. There's some of the I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but
Like
there are niches where
crafting, beauty,
right.
sometimes
Yeah,
the
for some
dollar
of them,
haul
yeah,
stuff.
for some of them it can work. But for food, I would argue no. I would argue that you don't need text on these thumbnails whatsoever, to be completely honest. Like what they did with this latest one, garlic butter
Yeah.
pasta. Just show me the food in good lighting and and get the text out of the way, right?
It is anecdotal, but this one video with 400 views and no text on a thumbnail has outperformed everything else put together. And all right, this one doesn't have a thumbnail as well, so maybe that's not the only reason. I would love to see this thumbnail without the text, because this looks like decadent fruit and nut
Mhm.
bars that I want to eat, but the text on top just ruins it
Yeah,
significantly for me.
exactly. And you know, it's one of those things where just show me the food. Really, that's it. And I know it's tough. Like for food channels, it's very difficult to go back and change thumbnails without having to remake that whole recipe. So I totally get it. But moving forward, yeah, I would avoid first. I'd avoid fancy text if you're going to use it, or avoid text altogether and just keep it simple. Show me the food, and get out of the way. Basically, that's really what it comes down to for me as far as thumbnails on a food channel.
Now, cooking channels, Jeff, they are not new. We've seen countless attempts over the years. This channel, their USP is who says healthy food has to be dull and boring. So immediately I'm thinking here, healthy food. All right. And immediately here I'm seeing fruit and cake bars, which don't necessarily look healthy. So, what is the simplest way you can create curiosity out of your value proposition? And this thumbnail is maybe a calorie count. Like if you've made this fruit and nut bar that's only 20 calories, so you can enjoy this food without it breaking your belly, so to speak. That'd be an interesting value proposition, wouldn't it? Enjoyable food without breaking the bank or the belly. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there.
Yeah, but I agree though, man. Something that kind of gives you more. Like what's going to put this over the top versus
Yes,
the next video that
exactly.
comes up in search on fruit and nut bars, right? What's going to get me to click on yours over the next one? It's not going to be the text. I'll tell you that much. So I'd be looking at some other way of adding value with a title like "No added sugar, fruit and nut
Yeah,
bars, perfect." You
that
know
could
that
be in the
helps.
thumbnail, couldn't it? No,
Yeah,
no added sugar could be your selling point in the
yeah,
thumbnail, like just maybe in the bottom left-hand corner, out of the way. Show me this lovely fruit and nut bar for all
yeah.
its delicious glory.
Yeah, but covering up the actual bars themselves with text, that's not the move. It's not the move.
Now, when we look at the different types of food, I'm seeing different cuisines: Lebanese, Moroccan, Mexican. So many different continents. I'm seeing different types of meals, whether it be a coffee, something savory, something sweet, like a lunch, a brunch. I still feel as if this creator could go more laser focused on a particular type of meal for a particular type of uh, cuisine, made with a particular type of ingredients, a particular type of budget, a particular amount of time it's going to take. Because as you say, Jeff, what's going to send this channel over the top versus all of the other cooking channels is for somebody to visit the channel and get an instinctive idea of what type of food I'm going to learn how to cook. And I don't get that strongly enough just yet from what they've made so far.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something where bouncing around from so many different types of cuisines can actually hurt you.
Mm.
One channel that I saw that I worked with for a while because they cook all from all types of stuff is they did them sort of in a run, right? So when they were doing their Mexican food, they did 10, 15 Mexican recipes in a row. And then when they
Yeah.
decided to go into more barbecue kind of southern cooking, they went into that for 10, 15 videos in a row. And then when they went into, so basically whatever region they were going to go after, they made sure that they did those videos back to back. And the reasoning I thought was genius because they kind of thought of this inherently based on the viewer. They were like, well, if I make these videos where suddenly it's not Mexican food, it's barbecue, I wanted to make sure that I made a bunch of them so that if somebody saw one and liked it, that they immediately had more videos on that style on my channel that they could jump straight into, and I'd even put them in playlists. That to me, I'm like, instinctively, that's what I would have told them to do. So that's just my thought. Like, instead of bouncing from one completely different, like one's a dessert and one's a breakfast and one's this and one's from this country and one's from that country, put all those ideas together, start doing them in sort of a series, and then move to the next one, and then move to the next one. So that's just a thought, but this is one way that you can get yourself organized, and I've seen it work quite well for other channels.
I just let the video play in the background there a little bit. Thought I'd give a bit of a video review and some production thoughts here. I don't think there's any audio narration, and so you're having to rely on, as Jeff so accurately put it, fancy text, which makes it difficult to read. I don't think this text stays on screen long enough. It kind of slowly fades in and then just disappears like that. And then in terms of the shot choices, I don't know about you, Jeff, but I feel a bit claustrophobic as I'm watching this video. Like, the camera is so zoomed in that sometimes I'm not getting a feel of the experience a little bit. And the frame rate is off as well. I don't know if this is just the quality of the camera, but it feels as if it's less than 24 frames a second. Maybe you've had to slow it down to fit the music or the text that's on screen. There's production improvements that could be made here as well, I think.
Yeah, it's possible, and that just takes time. That just takes time. Absolutely. So so that's fair. I mean, and now Rob's not being unfair. Obviously, we want to give a bit of that advice when possible, but like I said, this just takes time because I think we're still sort of on the beginning entry side of their career as a creator. Not saying that they haven't done a bunch of videos, which they have, but we're talking 3 months. My videos at 3 months were absolutely horrifying when I look back on them now. So it really does take time. I would say that if they continue on the trajectory that they're on, 50 videos, 60 videos, 100 videos in, it's going to look much different and it's going to get better with time, but that just takes practice. But that's one thing that I agree with Rob is make sure you're doing your research, right? Seeing what kind of angles, what kind of shots, how to do better framing on some of this stuff by watching successful cooking channels to give yourself ideas. I'm not saying copy them, but just to get an idea of what works that makes sense to a viewer that's going to make it a better experience for the viewer. But just a thought, but some research goes a long way when it comes to this kind of stuff.
And that is tasty, nutritious, delicious. All right, we're reaching the top of the hour, which means that America continues to wake up. And we're kind of like the undercard to the big event happening this afternoon in the US. It's going to be quite a bit of a weird jump from channel audits to potential former president being seen in court, but we'll fill in that time until we get there. And one way to warm up the crowd is with this gentleman right here.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's right. It's hour number 2, which means it's the Viper Hour live on vidIQ. What's up, Rob? What's up, Hefe? What's up, vidIQ fam? How y'all doing today? What's going on?
Doing awesome. Thanks for having you on, as always, Viper. Your enthusiasm is infectious. Now, my question is, Jeff, are you going to hang around or are you clocking off to get very important work done in the vidIQ universe?
Oh, no. I mean, I'll hang around for a few more minutes before I kind of saunter off here.
Much appreciated. So this week, I did a competition. I posted on the community tab. Actually, I'll show you what this is. Where is it gone? I'm getting into the Etsy business. So I bought this lovely, like 3D printed YouTube thing. It's probably going to appear in more props. I also bought something up here, which I was supposed to do at the start of a live stream, but I completely forgot. This slider thing up here, which I'm supposed to slide to live when we're live. So just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, now we're officially live. Also, have had this arrive in a post as well. And I'd love to open it up live, but there's so much sellotape on it. It could take me about half an hour to get into. So maybe I'll try later on.
So that is a sketchy looking package, man.
Well, yeah,
you're gonna get screenshotted into other things now.
And it's come from Latvia as well, so who knows what's in it. Anyway, I decided to use this as a prop for a competition this week, which looks a little bit like this, right? So I wanted people to do a caption of this image, and the winner would get a channel audit. And true to my word, that's what we're going to do now. But I just want to give you some of the oh-so-close entrants that were nearly correct or made me laugh enough to pick them. I'm just going to have to make my screen a bit bigger here. So this is totally a YouTubers hate their creators thumbnail. I don't know why I love this one, but somebody just said it's Taco Tuesday. I don't know how that relates to the image at all, but I loved it. When vidIQ gives an audit to someone not from their form, which I found hilarious because we often do that, and it's exactly what we're going to do now. The emotional and crushing distress of becoming a content creator. When YouTubers keep telling you to subscribe before they provide any value. YouTube when you leave 1 second. YouTube when you leave 1 second of copyrighted audio. This almost won the Red Rooks one with the David Attenborough, so I'm going to try and emulate him now. And here we see the wild YouTuber feeling the pressure of their fan base after missing 2 days of their daily uploads that last for 1 month. Now you can see all of the other ones on there, all excellent entries, but the winner of the caption competition was this. That girl for Girl AU, how it feels to order the play button from Wish. What was funny? It was almost accurate. As I say, this is from Etsy, and it's actually a very good play button. And I'm going to be using it in many more streams to come. So we are now going to audit that channel that won. So I'm just bringing it up on screen in the background. So there we are. That should be viewable by all now. So that's GTA for Girl. They have approaching 600 subscribers. It's very clear that they are a Grand Theft Auto channel, and they describe themselves as having funny content. I mean, let's just get this out of the way. I'll scroll down. I'll use the appropriate sound effects. Viper, what are you seeing here?
Yeah, these thumbnails need a lot of work, man. I can barely make out what's going on. I can't even make out the text because it's in red and it directly clashes with the background. Like, this is why I need you all to just look at your thumbnail before you decide this is the one I'm going to go with. Like, just look at it. And when you look at it, don't just look at it on the program that you create. Look at it, downsize it. Look at it as if you were looking at it from a mobile device. And if it looks like something that can't be discerned or understood, then you probably need to go back and rework it. But these thumbnails they are just not getting the job done. The red text is just not working. You got negative space in that third one from the top there. I mean, I can tell it's GTA. I mean, that's the best thing you got going on, is that we can definitely tell you're playing GTA. But other than that, I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what the messaging that you're trying to convey is, if there's any messaging at all. Actually, I guess it's just GTA funny moments, I guess. But I'm not getting that from any of these thumbnails. So yeah, these thumbnails need a lot of work.
Yeah, the picture-in-picture also doesn't work for me either.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure probably Viper agrees that they need to settle on one picture and just roll with that picture. And then everything that Viper mentioned about the text, because right now I'm looking at it on my screen and I can discern let's say the newest one, right? The latest video from 4 days ago. I can see that it says Grand Theft Auto 4 with the white text, but then there's other text. There's like purple. I can't read what that says. There's red text at the top. I can't read what that says. So there's too much text going on. Firstly, you need to focus on your text. If you're going to use it, I don't mind you using their font, that Grand Theft Auto font. Cool, whatever. 5 words or less. That's a challenge. Pick one picture for your thumbnail. 5 words or less. If you're going to use text, that's going to be the challenge.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so on top of the red text in the thumbnails, the Grand Theft Auto font that isn't that easy to read, especially on a small thumbnail, them including their channel name in the thumbnail, which seems a little redundant, and that they're repeating the title in their thumbnail. Other than all that, the thumbnails are pretty awesome, right? Well, no, we're not, because even the thumbnails themselves, most of them don't necessarily tell a coherent story. I look at this one, and as you say, if there was just that image, and you could probably have like a lot of blank space around it, but what appears to be a Zambezi just driving in the middle of the sky, and if you were able to make it front facing so that you could tell the characters were from Grand Theft Auto 4, and then we have one piece of text, that would probably be more than enough to tell a story. It is a really fascinating thing. When I switched to most popular, the most popular videos don't have any text on them at all, and have something intriguing, something that makes you go, at least, in them. This one, guy falling in the middle of the sky, doing what appears to be an interesting somersault, and some curious text in the title. A crumpled car with the New York City in a skyline from Grand Theft Auto 4. Again, that looks a little intriguing, especially when you add the idea that it's got jumps, launches, and some probably comedic ragdoll physics. These thumbnails are telling a potential intriguing story, and these were from a year plus ago, whereas now it feels like you've just resorted to phoning in the title and the thumbnail. It's going to be this title, it's going to have all of these elements on the thumbnail, and then I'll just stick some random screenshot in the background. That's kind of my rant over
Also,
this channel.
Why did they feel the need to put their channel name on the thumbnail? Like, you realize that when we watch the video, we can see what your channel name is when we're watching the video, right? Yeah, I don't know why y'all. I mean, I get what I used to do it when I was coming up as a creator. I used to put my at least my logo, my branding. I used to put that in my thumbnail, but then I decided that wasted space. But the actual channel name, you don't need that in the thumbnail. Like, we know what channel we're on when we watch your video, so you're just wasting real estate at that point.
So we could talk more about whether Grand Theft Auto 4 is the right game to be covering at this point. But I don't think we need to. I think there's already a clear demonstration of the types of thumbnails and the titles that work on your channel. I want you to go away and make 25 to 50 videos using these proven techniques that have worked for you in the past. I'll have a quick look at shorts and see if anything's going on there. You see, when they don't have a thumbnail that they have to build, they have to put more work into the titles, and even these titles are more intriguing than the very generic keyword heavy titles that they've got now. And what they've done 10 of these, we've done 10 of these montages now. And I think it's clear that it's not necessarily working for the audience. They've got less than 50 views pretty much in all of these. So it's time to try something new with very new thumbnails and titles. In our opinion, of course. Anything more to add from either of you two gentlemen?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for them to look at the evidence on their own channel and argue that they don't need text in their thumbnails and just show an intriguing portion, even if it's a screen grab, show an intriguing portion of what it is. Yeah, I think it'll work a lot better for them.
Alrighty, that is the first, I guess, section of this live stream complete. It's time to move on to something very exciting. Yes, Jeff, you were on full screen there. Thank you very much.
Ready. He wasn't ready, y'all.
It's early. All right. So we're now going to go to the forums and we're going to check out how many people have submitted. 457 on the non-gaming form, 357 on the gaming form. So we need to make sure that the CLAAAW can take all of these channels in.
Well, hopefully Clobber is more awake than I am. I'll tell you that much.
Let's hope so. So here's how it works. For the next 50 minutes or so, we'll put the CLAAAW into our collection of balls, pick one out, and that number is 368. We take that number, we put said number into the form, and now we have a channel to audit. And we haven't looked at these at all prior to auditing them. So very first impressions. But I'm going to ask the question to unfamiliar history, just looking at their channel banner and their thumbnails. Am I in the right place to learn, I guess, historical stories that may have not been told in school, or they're intriguing and interesting, and you're going to tell me about them? And the channel banner seems to support that a little bit. And then the thumbnails, I would say, have an air collision slant to them. Just looking at the top row. Yeah, I'm seeing an aerial theme here. So I think maybe you could pivot your channel banner and your channel name a little bit to focus more on air disasters, if that's what you want to do. Certainly an interesting side of YouTube that's been covered by quite a few channels in the past. Thumbnail wise, a bit text heavy. You could argue that every thumbnail looks like it's from a different channel because it has different fonts, a different layout, a different theme to them. What do you think?
We've seen this channel before.
Well, I haven't. This must have been one of the channels we audited when I was on my
right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, when you were on your hiatus.
But yeah, I don't think this is unfamiliar history. I think this is modern aviation disasters.
Yeah, I mean, they have some other stuff. Like, obviously, some of the stuff isn't that. Yeah, some of the stuff isn't that. So maybe that's how they started off. But sort of what they've niched into have been these aviation disasters. So it could be that the channel has sort of pivoted in that direction, and they just haven't updated, you know, their channel name, channel banner, if that's the way that they want to go. It could be that they don't want to go that way. It could be that they just want to continue telling these different stories. It's hard for me to say. It's tough for me to say.
Long pause here as I just scroll through the thumbnails and the titles and think.
I was opening it up for you guys.
How we could advise here. Yeah, they had this little run 9 months ago when they were focusing on certain aviation disasters using, I think, static images from the videos that seemed to work well for them. And then they went onto a shipping disaster, and that seemed to just knock the momentum out there. And ever since, they haven't quite been able to pick back up where they left off there.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add. There's definitely a disconnect when I look at the channel and I see these thumbnails and the videos, and they're mostly about airplane disasters. I don't really view that as unfamiliar history. I wouldn't even like title it history per se. I mean, you're basically covering aviation disasters more or less. And there's something to it. Like what Rob said at the very first when he clicked on this channel. Do you as a viewer feel like you're in the right place when you click on the channel? And immediately, not really. That's what I'm like, there's a disconnect here. I don't feel like I'm in the right place just by clicking on the channel name and seeing what the banner looks like. And then I'm seeing all these airplane thumbnails. Like, there's a disconnect going on here. And there is something to be said for when people click on your channel and the stuff doesn't match up. They're going to leave, because if they feel like their click is not validated immediately, then they're gonna go somewhere else. So you might want to work on maybe rebranding the channel and the banner, the channel name, channel banner, or to something that you're doing that more representative of the content on the channel.
Yeah, brand consistency, I think, especially in the thumbnails. Try not to start completely from scratch with every single thumbnail. If you want to try and establish it, because you are going to use text, and in these thumbnails, the text isn't too bad, but it's just different every time. And that's throwing me a little bit from a viewer perspective. I did click on one of the videos, and there is a I was a little worried that it might be a robot voice and it might be like a full-on faceless. Could this be an AI channel type of affair? But it's not. There was a very well done voiceover, and I feel as if a lot of time's been put into the editing and stitching all of the footage together. So it must be a little disheartening when you've probably put 30 minutes into this video, and it hasn't really brought you the results that you wanted. So I'm thinking just a thumbnail consistency and title consistency is where I'll be looking to redirect this channel in the right direction. Are they doing shorts? Let me check that.
Yeah, you'd think this content would really lend itself well to shorts and bringing up interesting tidbits, you know, from these different videos that they've already put out. Like they would work really well for repurposing, in my opinion.
Now the short look like unfamiliar history. Now when I see the short, I like I'm in the right place. But yeah, the channel, the other stuff, not too much.
Just seeing this was on April the 1st, so they are doing shorts on a regular basis as well. But as you say, rightly point out, Viper, this very much has a strong unfamiliar history slant to it, but occasionally has those aviation disasters mixed in as well. Just going to check the about section. So the channel is like 16 months old now. They have had some success.
Yeah, you have to give them that. I think more than anything else, it's just the focus. I think that's really what it comes down to. What part of history? I don't think we've focused enough on this because we're not thinking about a target audience. Yeah. Or the target audience that we're thinking about here is too broad. Oh, people who are interested in history. Nah, fam. You're going to have to go a little deeper than that, right? Yeah. You're going to have to really let me know who is this person and what are they actually interested in? You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. And you got to dig deep. And that's going to require you to really start focusing in on a particular topic. If it's airline collisions and disasters, okay, cool. If it's not that, what else could it be? Could it be World War II? Could it be other historical subjects? But focus, I think, is really going to be key beyond just history. You know, you got to go deeper than that.
Let's try and tackle a gaming channel as a trio of non-gaming channel aficionados. We are looking at the real justinakaj. I don't know how to.
It's the real Justin, aka J.
Oh, all right, Justin, aka J. Right. I really got myself mixed up.
Justin, come on, bro.
Okay, so I do videos about gaming and Funko Pop stuff, and I buy or get from subscription boxes. Okay, so not necessarily a gaming channel per se, but like a
Did Rob freeze on us? I think Rob froze up on us.
Oh, did he? Oh, I wonder.
I thought he was just thinking. I thought he took a pause, like a dramatic pause to say something.
Sorry, where did you?
There he is.
Yeah, you're right. I came back. I was saying that this channel is not necessarily a gaming channel, but a gaming memorabilia and collectibles channel. That's how I was introducing them. And from the thumbnails, you know what's really throwing me on every single thumbnail is that they're using the same image of themselves, which always has this airdrop crate thing in it. And presumably that's not in every single video, right? That's just happens to be an image. Yeah. And so they need to have a proper, just do like a quick photo shoot of yourself to have the same look and expression, but something that doesn't get diluted by another prop in it. Because, yeah, it comes from this airdrops crate, cosmic crate. And we have red background with black text. I think that's almost as egregious as red text on thumbnails.
Pretty close.
The white
close.
text, the white text on a red background is better.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's see here. I think one of the things that probably they would need to work on, if I had to give them a bit of advice, would be if we're going to talk about specific products, they probably just want to up their mobile photography. Let's say they don't have a camera and they don't have a photography background.
Yeah,
that's me. I'm that person, right? So if anything, I would start upping that up. Start looking at how you can do that. Usually clean backdrops really, really help. So if you could do that outside with, grass or a nature background, that helps. If you can find a spot in your house that doesn't have a bunch of crap behind you, like where it's like just a blank wall, that helps because it helps you focus on the thing as opposed to all the craziness that's causing a bunch of distractions on your thumbnail. But that's just a thought, just, throwing that out there.
Yeah. I don't think we often, or whether this is just unclear to me, and I apologize if that's the case. I rarely get a sense of the hero of the video. Like this is just a bunch of cartridges, but is there one particular cartridge that I should be paying attention to in this video? The rarest one or the most expensive one? This one's a little bit better, but the 5 best beat 'em up games tech series kind of destroying the Double Dragon cartridge image there. I feel a little bit. I remember having Double Dragon on a NES actually. I think that's Double Dragon 2. Really enjoyable game actually.
Yep. Yeah, people in the chat are also saying that the creator needs to work on their titling, and I would agree. These are generic cookie cutter titles at best, and they don't really inspire me to click on them. I mean, here when you're titling videos, especially when you have like collections and different things like that, you need to add that human element. You need to add an element of emotion or something to it, or curiosity or something that makes me excited to click on the video. I'm not getting that here. You're just talking about stuff that you get, but why is it special? Like, why should I care that you got your hands on this game or whatever? Is it a rare game? Is it a classic game? Is it something that could potentially be worth a lot of money? Like, I need that connection to the content. I'm just not getting that connection with this particular content. And you know what? I'm at work, so I'm going to be real with you. I just feel like these thumbnails are very low effort. There was not a lot of work put into these thumbnails, so I really feel like this creator needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to maybe put a little bit more effort into your thumbnails. We're on YouTube, and because we're on YouTube, you have unlimited resources on how to craft clickable thumbnails on this platform. So I would suggest typing in your YouTube search bar how to make a clickable thumbnail or how to make a thumbnail, and make better thumbnails. Because thumbnails are our cover art as creators. They are what get viewers in the door. And if you're not spending a lot of time on your thumbnails, you are leaving a lot of views on the table. So you need to make better. I know I hate making thumbnails too. I hate it too. But you know how important they are, right? Think about when you're scrolling YouTube and you're looking at the thumbnail. Don't tell me that a thumbnail don't get you click on the video, because it's literally the thing that you see before the title of the video. You see the thumbnail.
One sec. I've got one to the door. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, before you even see the title of the video, you see the thumbnail. So we all know how important thumbnails are. So we just can't slap any old thumbnail on there and expect people to click on it. You have to put effort into your thumbnails. That's the reality of YouTube. If you're not willing to put that effort into creating your thumbnails, why do you think anybody's going to click on your content? You can make the best video of all time, but if your thumbnail is trash, nobody's going to watch it. So I need you all to understand just how important thumbnails are, and use some of that same energy that you use to create the content. Put some of that same energy into creating a thumbnail.
Yeah.
All right. You can calm down. Thank you for covering that.
Yeah. What I was going to say was I would challenge every creator in here to come up with their title and thumbnail before they turn on their camera. Every single one, with the exception of people who are unable to do that ahead of time. If you can't, let's say you're a woodworking channel, right? So you obviously can't take a picture of the finished product before you start making it, right? But have the concept in your mind for it, right? Like, this is what I want my thumbnail to look like. At least have the concept. For everybody else, make your title and your thumbnail before you turn on your camera. That's what you got to do. And if they don't look good, if your packaging doesn't look good, how do you expect anybody to click on it? Your video is your product, just like Viper said. So your packaging has to be on point. And in 2023, there are tutorials for all of this. And you don't even need to have Photoshop or a powerful computer. I make all of my thumbnails on my iPad. You don't have to, and I'm using free apps, by the way. So you don't have to have a background in graphic design to make clickable thumbnails. All the information is out there for you, especially if you just take half hour a day to do some research on what kind of thumbnails work to get clicks in your niche, and then start applying some of those techniques to your own stuff.
Now, what I want to just add to this channel is that I think there are small hints of a progressive direction. For example, we see the titles, Viper and Agreevy here. Unboxing a Grail Chalice Collectibles mystery box. Unboxing Escape Crate from Airdrop Crates. Very functional. Doesn't really create intrigue, curiosity, or excitement. Whereas this title, my #1 beat-em-up game, will shock you. That has more curiosity to it because it has a certain opinion. And if you maybe put a thumbnail up there of what is generally perceived as a terrible Nintendo beat-em-up, that would create curiosity in a thumbnail. I think what this creator needs to try and get away from a little bit is the indulgent titles where it's my choice and my game collection and what I think as a creator about these certain retro things. Because right now, because you haven't built up the audience or the, I guess, the relatability and the credibility in this space, people don't necessarily care about your thoughts and opinions, at least until they get into the video. They want to share in that same passion and experience for retro stuff. So make it about the as you rightly said as well, Viper, the what do you say, the product is the, remind me what the phrase was there, because I really liked it when he said it, but I've already forgotten it, which is really bad.
No, I think Hefe was talking about how the product is the focus in the thumbnail, whatever you think he was talking about.
There was just Jeff, you referenced Viper, and it was something along the lines of the product is your thumbnail is your product or something.
Well, no. So your videos are your product, and the thumbnail and title are your packaging. So your packaging has to be on point. Like, I'm not going to buy a bag of chips if it doesn't look good on the packaging. It's got to attract my eye. If it's just a brown bag, I'm like, what the heck's in here?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what that is. If it's just a brown bag with some magic marker on it, I'm not buying that when you've got Doritos and Cheetos with a flaming hot and all that fancy text all over it. Right. I'm going to go for that. So it's a funky analogy, but it makes sense.
Or if you got like the best looking bag or the best bag of chips, and you know the chips are good, but somebody stepped on the bag, are you going to buy it? Probably not. You're not going to do that. So. Realize.
Got new pixel figures. Like, how could we improve this one? We don't just want to see the box art. Don't be afraid to show some of the product itself in the thumbnail to get them to click, because you got at least 2 of these products, so you could just show off one of them. It might be an unusual, like in Super Mario 3. What's coming out there? Is it actually Mario, or is it one of the Goombas, or a Koopa? Show us a little bit more than just the boxes. We can see boxes on thumbnails. We can see boxes on Amazon. Show us something a little more exciting.
Yeah, I think some creators get a little too cute with the intrigue and they're trying to hide stuff. Like, you got to give us something to grab onto.
It does have to be a certain smash mouth, doesn't it, on the thumbnail, just to get them in the door.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if we can bring up another channel now. Thanks for staying around, Jeff. By all means, you are free to buy out if you need to and want to. But if you're sticking around, we'll look at CEEMASTER MJ. They're a 21-year-old engineering student. I assume it's important to include that in your about section.
Okay. Before we go,
Viper has found something.
Before we go any further, let me just put this down right now. You know what? I got time today, y'all. I got time today. So since I got time today, I might come off a little harsh and honorary. That's fine. It is what it is. But please don't waste time like this doing stuff with your channel banner. If you don't give me a reason to subscribe, I'm not going to subscribe to your channel. Nobody is going to subscribe to your channel just because you ask them to in your channel banner. It does not work that way. You have to have compelling content. Your content has to have value. or teach us something or show us something or make us feel some type of way. The actual content has to have value for a person to subscribe. They're not going to subscribe based off your damn banner. Please stop this nonsense. Put a value proposition in the banner that we can or put something that we can expect to get from the channel in the banner. But don't just ask people to subscribe it and waste that real estate. Please don't do that. Okay.
That was a channel banner announcement from Viper. Thank you very much.
So, having said that, Viper, there's some promise on this channel. In a sense that they have just 3 videos and they've already broken a number of milestones that many creators struggle to get after 100 videos. One of their videos has got more than 1,000 views. Their channel's got more than 100 subscribers. I'm just going to check the shorts to see how consistently they're posting on shorts, because let me just check when this one was published. March 28th. And the reason I'm asking that is because there was a huge gap. They made 2 videos a year ago and then a video a month ago. So it's an easy stick to beat you with, CEEMASTER MJ, but you've got to commit to consistency. To have these views from so few videos is incredible. And it suggests to me that your viewers probably want to see more of you, but you're not feeding them enough content right now. So whether it be like 4 or 5 shorts a week or 1 video every 2 weeks, let's get a bit more commitment from you if you possibly can.
Yeah, clearly there's something in your content that people are identifying and resonating with, so you need to make more of it. Definitely.
And I guess the channel intent is university life in Africa. That's the vibe I'm getting. And hey, university life doesn't last that long, typically 3 to 4 years. And if you're only going to do 3 videos in a year, you're gonna run out of content pretty soon when you graduate. And all of those student life experiences that many viewers will want to share in are passing you by if you don't make that content now.
Yeah.
Just going to click on one, let it run for a few seconds. Jeff, was there any thoughts that came into your head?
No, you guys pretty much nailed it.
I think since my internet froze a moment ago, it's not working very well.
But I will go back to something that I said on the podcast recently about vlogging. You can definitely vlog. I'm not telling you guys that you can't vlog, but your vlogs have to provide value to the viewer. Otherwise, people are not going to care. So we got a Uncovering Africa's Most Elite University. I guess that has some value in it for people that want to go to school in Africa. So there's something there to that.
I think it might do. Yeah, I think that university vlogging life in Africa, it feels like it can be quite niche, but it's just got a shelf life because this person presumably is not going to be at university for any longer than 3 to 4 years.
All right, here's one. UTC vlog, a day in the life of a UTC engineering student. For me, that title has very little value. I mean, yeah, if you want to be a engineering student, then that might have some value for a potential engineering student. But other than that, I don't really get much value out of that particular title. So did something happen in your day that's exciting? Or did you learn something that might be a particular use to other engineering students in throughout the course of your day? That's what the title should be centered around, not just the vague day in the life of an engineering student. What happened in that day? What is something valuable that you learned that you could share with your audience? That should be the focus of your title.
Final thoughts from you, Viper, and sorry, Jeff, and then we'll move on to the next channel.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, just consistency really is really what it comes down to. And I know it's rough, you know, when you're living student life. Like I've worked with creators who are in college, I've worked with creators who are in high school. So it can be difficult. And I think if you really want to make a go of this as a content creator, let's say theoretically that is something that you want to do, then it is going to take a bit of commitment where you're going to have to try to figure out a schedule that's going to work for you, whether that's posting 1 video per month, 2 videos per month, 4 videos per month, whatever it might be, or if it's only a shorts strategy. Go for it. If the shorts if shorts lower the barrier of entry for you to get more consistent content out, then roll that way. But either way, if you want to do this, consistency is really, really going to help you.
All right. I'm going to try opening up this box over the next 20 minutes. You can guess what's inside it. It is YouTube themed, or at least I hope it is. So do let me know in the comments. But in the meantime, we will load another gaming channel. This channel is going to be 58. So that's definitely in the list, which is good to know. And they call themselves Next Gen Games for Fun. And that is not what I was supposed to find. Let me go back to the form. It's because I didn't get their channel URL. That was a bit silly of me. There we go. Okay, so welcome to YouTube Next Gen Games for Fun. In this channel, you can find beaming drive benchmark videos. They've only got one video right now. It's almost 15 minutes long. It has 7 views, not unsurprising as a new channel. They have one short as well, which has 205 views. So they've made their starts. Jeff Viper, I think if from the limited information we have here, what do you think the creator needs to concentrate on next?
I'm sensing another disconnect here, because the channel title is Next Gen Game for Fun, but the 2 videos that are on the channel right now are about how many frames per second you can get if you use a particular computer component. That's not Next Gen Game for Fun. That's you telling us about computer components. So right away, I'm wondering as a viewer, what is the creator trying? What is the creator going to bring me in the future? Are we going to actually get content about next gen games, or which is not really next gen anymore? Now we're talking about current gen games. Or are you going to continue to talk to me about how much performance you get out of the computer components? Like where are we going here? Because your messaging, I mean, well, you do say that you're gonna do a benchmark video, but that doesn't really tie into the channel thing. So I'm a little confused there.
Yeah, I agree. I think what it is here is that because they're so new, that they don't know who they're aiming at. Like they want to be a PC tech channel maybe, or maybe they want a game as well. Here's the thing. I think they really have to figure that out. And PC tech channels are amazing. They're just super expensive, right? Because you have to constantly getting the latest hardware. If you can't afford that, don't go down that route. So that's one thing that you want to be careful with. But I think they really need to figure out who it is that they are aiming at and start making content that makes sense for that viewer. Whether it's tutorials on how to get through a game, walkthroughs, benchmarks, whatever it is, but really start thinking about who it is that you're trying to serve and start making videos in that direction, but really focused on that person. And that means that you're gonna have to sit down and really give some thought as to who it is that you want to target with your videos.
I think you two have been a little harsh here. The about section tells us that they're going to benchmark a particular game, and the first video seems to suggest that that's exactly what they're doing. It feels as if maybe they've got a placeholder channel name right now until they can think of something better. Ideas that jump to mind are the Benchmark Empire might be something that you could use, or Beam MG benchmarking might be another one to keep within the niche. What I would say is that the video thumbnail and title, I don't think necessarily matched up to the content, because it was just playing this game for what seemed to be 15 minutes. I'm not seeing, so I am seeing the frame rate up there. It is just music, so there's no narration on there. And you know, if you're benchmarking something, I would probably like to see some box art from the product, maybe the graphics card, it being installed into the computer. So admittedly, yes, this is their first video, so the content is going to need a little bit of work. But yeah, I thought the value, the about section value proposition versus the first video kind of match what they're looking for, but it is still very early days. And that silence suggests to me
all
that
right,
we can for a channel with one video.
While Rob pulls the thing, every time I come on these live streams, I see people in the chat complaining about how they're not getting reviewed and different things like that. Do you realize how many people submit their channels each week to get reviewed?
Over a
There are
thousand.
thousands of channels that submit it every week. There's a high probability that your channel will get reviewed, but that doesn't mean you can't gain value from the channels that we do review. So instead of complaining about not getting your channel looked at, just take your notebook out, take notes. And if you hear us say stuff over and over again, that it's probably an indication that that's something important that you need to consider whether your channel is getting reviewed or not. A lot of people have never gotten their channel reviewed on these live streams, and they found value out of watching and watching the replays and listening to what we say. So you can still gain value even if your channel's not being reviewed. But complaining about it in the chat, it's just kind of silly at this point. There's way too many people out there for us to review in a 2-hour live stream. So do with that information what you will.
No, here's the truth of the matter, though, because a lot of people that complain, if we go to their channel right now, I can guarantee you that they're not doing half the things that we're talking about. Banners going to suck. Thumbnails are going to be hurt. Titles are not going to be good. They're going to lack focus. And I'm not saying that to be rude or to be mean. I'm saying that a lot of the stuff that we're advising, you can apply it to your channel, even though we're not looking at your channel specifically. So this is what we're talking about. So shout out to everybody who's been taking notes. I was in your position. I used to watch a stream way back in the day before Rob had a goatee, and I would sit here and I would take notes. I was at my job and I was taking notes, watching the stream so that I can improve my channel, right? That's really how this works. So that's really what Viper's getting at, and hopefully you guys are making some use of this information.
Before I wore glasses, before I had a goatee.
That's right.
I've always been bold and beautiful. ProCreeper channel, plus 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations on that milestone. I don't know about you, chaps, but I like these thumbnails. To get shots like this from such small objects as Lego items is pretty cool. And they're doing it predominantly without text. And that's what I think is really cool. I know from the moment I land on this page, you know, as we were saying with the previous channel, Viper, or the one before, which was talking about using the channel banner to try and persuade people to subscribe. This channel just tells you what the channel is literally about, and then that's super reinforced in the thumbnails. And I think those look pretty good. And I'm guessing these are stop motion storytelling animation on Lego. It is a topic that's highly saturated. I'll admit that, but at least they're being very strong in their messaging about what they're making on their channel.
Yeah, these thumbnails are incredible. I mean, they look like scenes out of Marvel movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell, you know, as we were talking earlier on, I think about the channel, you know, this one where they just look like stills from the channel and there wasn't any thought or consideration to how they're going to package up their video in a thumbnail. This is like the complete opposite. They're really thinking, especially about the lighting in some of these, which is really atmospheric. Sometimes perhaps maybe a little overdone for the thumbnail, but yeah, super strong animation, super strong thumbnails.
Now, usually I would complain about the lack of the generic title, but I think for this channel, these type of titles actually work out in their favor because if you're basically just highlighting the actual like characters that are in the videos and different things like that, so you don't really need super advanced titles for content like this. I think it works in this particular instance.
Oh, look at how cool that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that must take forever.
I'm out there. I can't even imagine how much time it takes for them to make that clip. That's crazy.
I'm always in envy of the time it must take for these creators to do stop motion animation. You know, even though this is probably a 45-second clip, it must have taken, I don't know, hours, days to do this.
A long time. Cool. I really only have one like thing I can even mention with this particular channel. And that's the channel name. Do you really want your channel name to be ProCreeper? There's a lot of negative connotation around the term creeper today. I don't know if I would want that to be my channel name, but hey, if it's working for you, it's working for you.
It does have Minecraft vibes about it a little bit, I think. They're doing shorts as well. Delighted to see that they're engaging in shorts. Some have got some pretty decent views as well. And, you know, Jeff, we were talking earlier on about don't just remake your shorts as landscape pieces of content. I'm not sure if the creator is necessarily doing that, but each of these videos could be shorts in themselves as well. They're all under a minute.
Yeah, you know what? You're actually right about that. Especially being that they're already really short, this kind of content would lend itself to it. The only issue is formatting would be a little tough because of the fact that it's all shot in 16:9.
Yeah.
So that would take some creativity, because you don't want to just put it 16:9 as a short, because then you got the huge blocks on top. So you'd have to probably crop in a little bit or something. But I would say it's worth experimenting with. And it seems like as far as I can tell, they are doing shorts.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where I don't see why you couldn't do it. Even then, they could even make some compilations out of this stuff if they really wanted to, where they don't all have to be super short. You can put some of these together as like your greatest moments or anything like that, and actually have a longer video on your channel that shows some of the best stuff you've done.
I guess if there was one piece of advice to give to this creator, is to learn the art of storytelling. And I say that almost from a privileged position whereby I don't have to worry about that as much in the education portion of YouTube, whereas these pieces of content very much do need to rely on a certain storytelling element. Like Lego Robin animation tests. Is there any way you can turn that into like the shortest of short stories? Night Monkey Suit Up. Is there a way to better tell that story? Like, I don't know how, but it's just, it's very descriptive rather than intriguing and curious. And I wonder if you could win more intrigue and clicks by making them more exciting in a way. This one, for example, you could make this more intriguing by just adding a question at the end. Wolverine versus Sonic. Who would win? I know it's very obvious and very basic, but it would add the question to the viewer's mind. And they're probably already trying to answer it before they even click on it. Because, you know, Wolverine...
Even just adding a question mark to the title.
Yeah. or yeah, even doing that, yeah. Because like Wolverine has got tremendous recuperation abilities, but Sonic is so fast he'd never be able to hit him. I'm already asking that question in my head.
Is the answer obvious? Is the answer
yeah.
obvious? Because it's not to me, to be honest. I mean, I love Wolverine and I love Sonic, but the answer of who would win is not obvious to me, to be completely honest. I'd love to see how this plays out. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that video.
Nightwing versus Green Arrow. Those are two less well-known characters, so I'm not as interested in that. So maybe you want to pick some more prominent Marvel or DC characters as well to test to a broader, more accessible audience. Let's move on to Jeff. I want to give you just uber props for sticking around here. We're not far from the end now, and it's
I'll crash out at some point today.
Hey Rob, you want to address any comments though? Or the super chat, I should say.
Yeah, all right then. Let's bring up this channel, and then we'll move on to some super chats. So if you do have super chats and you want to send them in, they might get answered after this channel that we're auditing now, called Britacle. They haven't done a channel banner yet. 166 subscribers, and from the titles and especially the thumbnails, I'm getting especially this one. This gives me all the meme vibes from this one. And it is clever and funny. I think it's overdone a little bit. You might want to drop some of these fast food brands out there. Maybe just have the Red Bull cans on the shoulders. Maybe the KFC box. But I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. And maybe I'm just the wrong target audience for this. But it is throwing me a little bit. And I'm sure Jeff and Viper would agree here that maybe we're just not the right viewers and we're never going to get what these videos are about.
You're getting that danky Mimi vibe? Is that
I am.
Hey, can we go back and click on the about piece real quick?
I don't think we ever went there, so let's have a look, Viper.
Oh, you a lot of different things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
They probably did this when they first started the channel, and they haven't really thought about, as you say, the the precise target audience of value proposition. I know that sounds like really wordy stuff for this channel, but yeah, if you want to make entertaining comical memes for a certain game, for a certain age and audience, that's still things that you got to think about.
All right, can we scroll down, Rob, real quick?
Yep.
All right, I just saw a video that I just thought. Okay, go back up real quick. All right, stop. Right there. All right, the if I hit 100 subs, I'll cover myself in mayonnaise. That video has no place on the channel. I'm sorry. Like, it's just why. What, like, you could mention it in a video or regular video, but don't make a dedicated video talking about that. Here's the thing, you all. You need to realize that every video that you put on your channel is precious real estate. It is a chance for you to get new eyes on your channel. So when somebody comes to your channel or whatever, and you put out a video, it has to be in line with the rest of the content. It should look like something that you would normally do on the channel. These outliers, like what you would do if you get a such and such sub account, nobody cares. Especially because most of the people that are coming to your channel probably are new and have never seen your channel before. They don't care about you getting 100 subs. They just want the value of the content. So that's why when I saw that video, I'm like, all right, this video just does not belong on the channel. Again, you can mention it in one of the regular videos, like mention it at the end of your regular video, like, all right, if I get 100 subs, I'll cover myself in mayonnaise. But don't waste a dedicated video. Don't waste that precious screen or that precious video real estate on just something like that. It doesn't help.
I don't know, Viper. I think for a dank meme channel, for somebody to cover themselves in mayo after 100 subscribers, pretty much fits the ethos of the channel, I would argue.
Even though they have all this like gaming content on it?
I'm joking. What I would say is they had this little series of Last of Us, I guess, meme comedy videos going on. 53 views, 300 views, 186 views. You're building momentum. Why did you depart from that? It was working for the audience. Is this again like you as the creator just got bored and you wanted to try something else, and that was Fortnite for a few games? All right, you did that. 100 views, 70 views, 30 views, but now you've moved on to Dark Souls. So I'm losing a bit of a common thread there. I'll leave the final words to Jeff, and then we'll get to some super chats.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that they're sort of still trying to figure things out. It could be that they're still quite young, from what I can tell. And this advice could be falling on completely deaf ears. You know, there's a lot of younger creators I spoke with, and their only goal is subscribers. They don't care how they get there. And if you really want to do this, if you know, for the long run, you have to start thinking a little deeper than that. That's really what it comes down to. But in the meantime, have fun. That's all I'm really going to say. Have fun with it. If you can find a way of focusing on a particular viewer, the earlier you can do that, the better it will be for you in the long run. But aside from anything else, just continue to have fun with it, man.
Okie dokie. Let's bring up some super chats if I can find the right music to play. There we go. Thank you again, Jeff, for starring some of these super chats. All right, then. Let's see what we've got coming up here. Tile of the World. Does the organization of the landing page matter? Suggested order. I would say assume you're talking about your channel page. It matters a lot, because over the course of your channel's life, it will be one of the, if not the biggest single contributor to subscribers you will get, more than any individual video. So with that being said, I would recommend, this is just me personally, your channel trailer should be a video that best represents your channel and is proven to convert subscribers. If you want to make a channel trailer, do so if you're very good at making channel trailers. I think your first line of videos should be the topic or the niche that you're most strongly associated with. And then your second line of videos should be your most recent upload to show people that you're uploading on a regular basis. Jeff, Viper, anything else to add? Or next super chat?
No, we can move on, man. You got it.
Yeah, we're good.
Necro Gaming. What is the best way to build an audience engagement and retention in a long form video? Also, take my money. Money taken.
The best way to build that engagement is just to get the audience involved. One of the simplest things that you can do as a creator is to ask the audience a question, because then it makes them think, and then they will go down there and they'll leave a comment. And also, they might watch the rest of the video to get more context about what you're asking them. And again, ultimately, what you hope is that it leads to them leaving a comment on the video. So ask them a question.
Oh, next one. No people, no problems. Thank you guys for everything. We'll implement all suggested changes in my future videos. Sound in background is sound of waterfall on our property. Okay, there you go. But it is at a time-lapse speed, so I didn't realize it was a waterfall. I know I much prefer to learn more about you and your journey. And so, yeah, voice narration after you've recorded the footage is that where I think, or where we think you should experiment. J Money Crypto, do adding emojis to your YouTube title help? That's an interesting question. What do we think?
I don't know if I would say it helps. I mean, it might add a little flavor, but as far as helping, I don't know if it helps one way or another.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's not going to make a huge, it's not going to basically pull one way or the other, to be completely honest. If it can help you express an emotion, then you can do it. I've used plenty of emojis in my titles and thumbnails. If it can help you express what you're trying to say or help with curiosity, whatever it might be, then go ahead. But if not, don't bother. They're not going to instantly make your video go viral or anything like that.
It is aesthetically different. However, I would say if you're aiming for search, just to be on the safe side, you don't necessarily want those emojis disrupting keyword searches. So I'd probably leave them out if you are a search-based channel. But I've no proof or data to suggest that's the case. I just worry a bit. Backyard Barn Finds. Can you explain your thumbnail testing process? How long do you test? How to track correctly? Any info will be helpful.
So the best thing I could tell you for this particular question is when you're doing your research or when you're trying to figure out what your video is going to be about, figure out what those keywords are, go to the YouTube search bar, type in those keywords, and then look at all the thumbnails that populate on page 1, because they got on page 1 for a reason, and see what they have in common, see what you can potentially reproduce, but don't just try to reproduce it one to one. You want to make similar thumbnails, but you want to make a thumbnail that is similar but also stands out at the same time. But that's really how you quote unquote test. But also don't forget, most people are watching YouTube on a mobile device, so your thumbnail has to be viewable when it's in a shrunken state as well. It just can't be how it looks on a desktop or something like that. You have to consider it for the different devices that we view YouTube on.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, Jeff, because I think you've done lots of different testing on thumbnails.
Yeah, and then just before I get started on that, just letting you guys know, if you guys are dropping super chats now, you should be reading the banner. Odds are we're not going to be able to get to them. So I'm sorry. Thank you for the donations, but we are on limited time. So just throwing that out there. If you drop a super chat, probably not going to get read at this point. But my own thumbnail testing process really comes down to this, right? I make 4 to 6 thumbnails for each video.
Wow.
And I really judge on my own, like which one do I think looks best? And that's the first one that I'll start with. Yeah. And normally as you get, when you're consistent with your channel, you start learning what your baselines are, right? So you start knowing, hey, here's what my baseline click-through rate is on a video. In the first hour, I should have 100 views theoretically, right? Let's just throw a number out there. The first hour, I should have 100 views. If in that first hour, my video has 50 views, I know something's wrong. And YouTube is going to give you a click-through rate initially. And if that click-through rate number is below your average, you probably have something wrong with your thumbnail. At that point, I would change it, right? Yeah. So, but if there's nothing wrong, you hit that 100, maybe you're over 100, whatever it might be, you hit the 3 hours, your video is like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10, right around there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If it's working, don't do it. Because sometimes you could change the thumbnail thinking, I can get this to number 1, and you end up tanking a video. So that's sort of how I do it, just in a quick nutshell. But yeah, that's how it works for me.
And this is why we strongly encourage creators to make not only the title before you start recording, but also the thumbnail. So you have these additional options. And let's be honest, the video making process itself is emotionally and physically draining. And by the time you've done that, you're often just ready to get that video uploaded and be done and dusted with it. Whereas if you, and at that point, you're struggling to think of a title and a thumbnail. Whereas if you create all of that beforehand, then You can just enjoy the process of making a video, knowing that you've already got the title and the thumbnail done. And then, as Jeff has said, when it comes to those first few hours of analysis, you have those alternative ideas to use with thumbnails. I have an issue of not talking enthusiastically. Any tips? Should I force it, or should I try to use my Monday voice as a comedic selling point? I think the only person who could answer this one is Viper.
It's not so much that you need to talk enthusiastically. You just need to have confidence in your delivery. Confidence is what you want and what you need, because it gives you that air of authority and authenticity. So as long as you're confident about the content that you're delivering, everything else should take care of itself.
I think some people can speak in a slow, mundane way, as long as it's something different or refreshing or unusual. I think whatever your strength is, dial it up to 11 and test how that works with the audience. All right, super chat from Lynn's Rid B. My channel direction evolved over time, and now I have vids that don't match the current direction. Do I unlist, private, or delete these old videos? Let's say this in unison, right? So just all of us say what this creator should do with these videos in 3, 2, 1. Unlist. There we go. I think Jeff was a little afraid of what we were going to say there, but
oh no, I had to unmute myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Especially if those videos are bringing in the wrong audience, you don't want them disrupting your new audience, and you unlist them as a precaution because you don't want to lose that data off your channel, especially if you're working towards watch time and monetization goals. Hypedify, can you look at my page before I head off to work? Also, thank you for everything you do. Unfortunately, super chats do not guarantee you a channel audit. And we did say that at the start of the live stream, but thank you for the donation.
We also had a banner that was going across the bottom saying the same thing.
You did. Is it still there as well?
No, I changed it.
Revelation with Shekana. Do hashtags work in the description? They work in the sense that they will create a link for the video to take you to the landing page for that hashtag. But I have still not seen any strong evidence to suggest that they bring in tons of views. Like I must admit, I just phone in my hashtags, and they're the same 3 hashtags every single week on every video, which I think more subscribers 2023, more views 2023, and I think grow your channel. And we've just used that now for 1,000 videos, and I don't think it's made any difference. Finally, Midnight Nathan, how do I remember my lines in my script? I'm sure we're all going to have slightly different answers to that. Viper, we'll start with you.
I am not the one to answer because I don't script, but
there you go. You just have that skill to just speak to camera off the hook, and I would dearly love to have the same skill.
No, but I do use an outline, right? So I don't like write a script word for word what I'm gonna say, but what I do is I have an outline of bullet points that I wanted to hit, just to make sure I hit bullet points, especially for tech video, because you like, I think Marquez mentioned this in the recent video too, that you don't want to get the information wrong about a particular specification or something. So I have bullet points, but I don't have a script. But a lot of creators use like teleprompters and different things like that. I have my camera position on top of my monitor, so if I were using a script, I can just have an outline on my monitor, and as I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at the script, and yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it.
Was Viper horribly garbled for you as well, Jeff, or was that just me?
No, it's fine to me.
It was just my side. I do apologize. I didn't hear a word you said, Viper. I was just assuming it was me.
All right.
Jeff, what about you?
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't remember the lines of my script. I actually have a script, and I have the script sitting on my iPad right under the camera. So you can't, off camera, you can't see it. But I'm reading off of a script. So you don't have to remember your lines. You could do what I'm doing with this, which is like a makeshift teleprompter. You can buy an actual teleprompter. But the best way to help you if you want to sound natural and sound like yourself is to, when you script, use voice dictation. That's really the best way to keep your own natural speech patterns in your script. But that's how I do it. You can do it with notes. I originally started with a literal notepad, right? Just an actual notepad. I put a string on it, and I used to hang it around the lens so that I could read my notes as I was going and making my video. So just a thought.
Is that why you wear glasses so that you can read a script without anyone seeing where your eyes are?
No, that's a happy byproduct, but that's not the reason why.
Okay. I kind of half script. So when I'm doing voice narration and I'm just talking to a microphone, I will probably script it fully. But then when I'm talking to camera, it's more of a sheer bloody mindedness in that I'll think of something to say and then I'll fluff my lines 5 or 10 times, stopping the camera, deleting the recording and starting again until I nail it. But I am now trying to follow the Jeff line of having a script just off of screen so that I can quickly refer to it and then continue to go through my lines. But it's still a long process. And some of people are just very gifted and can just speak off the cuff. I would love to be able to do that. But yeah, it's still just a long, arduous process. And I'm still learning myself. And I think that is the last super chats that we can do. Thank you for any more super chats that came in afterwards. But I don't think we have time to read them out today.
Yep, gotta go.
So I'm going to hide those comments. And now, as a final drum roll, that's not the drum roll. Hang on. It's this button. Come on, Stream Deck, work. There we go. All right. So I'm trying to get this thing out of it. That didn't work very well. Right. Okay, my timing is terrible. I'm just trying to open it up here. So another thing I got from Etsy recently was my self-indulgent YouTube plaque that says that we have 100 million views. I made it / ordered it myself. So that's going to go on the shelf as well in the background. Thank you, everybody who contributed to this wonderful award. I will treasure it. Mwah. I love you all. I also love Jeff, who came on at 7 o'clock in the morning, his time, to contribute to this live stream. I also love, as always, Viper's incredible enthusiasm every single week. I'm going to give you a little bit of a 20-second outro, Viper. Tell us what you do here at vidIQ and where we can find you.
Sure. So I am the head of social media at vidIQ. So I run our Twitter account, our Facebook account, our Instagram account. I run all that stuff. And I also host our Tube Talk podcast, which we have new episodes out every Thursday morning. So that is where you'll find me. If you're interacting with us online, you're probably talking to me.
Boom. And Jeff, 20 seconds to tell us what you do at vidIQ and why absolutely everybody here should join vidIQ Max.
Well, yeah. So basically what I do at vidIQ is I am one of the 3 creator coaches that run the vidIQ Max program. So I work directly with creators in our group coaching program, helping people grow their channels, learn how YouTube works, answer questions, and basically kind of be your go-to guy around content creation. But yeah, so that's basically what I do. Try to help creators, and by making a product that would have helped me greatly when I first got started, and is now helping other creators get to the next level.
Wait a minute.
All right, let's see what we got here going on. It's terrible. What a waste of technology. I don't know why people do this to themselves. Absolutely trash. What is this terrible background music playing while the Savage Man has come? See, y'all try to trick me. Y'all try to have this show at no o'clock in the morning. Of course, the Savage Man sleeps until no o'clock. And then you play this terrible music over top of me. Unbelievable what you've let this thing go to. All you got to do is bring Rob Wilson back from the UK, and then he starts it upside down in times that don't make any sense, and then plays music over everybody. It's terrible. Listen, everyone who comes to this channel, I appreciate you greatly, but I feel sorry for you. It's terrible. By the way, I think this is over. Isn't it over? Let me tell him one secret, Rob. I'm coming in for like 10 seconds because I missed y'all and y'all missed me. So let me tell you the one secret to YouTube. It's really a 10-second tip. All you have to do is hit control.